watching We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation, and I'm your host, Crystle Johnson. We are a community of Black women demanding our collective liberation through radically soft living. Each Thursday, we feature the stories of Black women who have set themselves free from the expectations of others and are choosing to live on their own terms. Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. We are a community of Black women demanding our collective liberation through radically soft living. I am your host, Crystle Johnson, and I'm excited today to talk to Dr. Lawanda Hill about wellness as liberation. Welcome to the show, Dr. Lawanda.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's so good to meet you in person.
You too.
Like you just have this light energy around you. Just very happy. Also want to say thank you to someone else you all will hear from in the season, Kimberly Pack.
Yes.
Who you also heard from her in season 1 as well. I just love her so much.
And she has that same kind of energy.
Yes.
I love her so much too. I'm glad
Absolutely.
She put me on it.
For sure. So tell us, who is Dr. Lawanda Hill?
Well, Dr. Lawanda Hill, I'm a licensed psychologist, and my focus is on Black women's wellness. I am a Southern girl from a small town in Louisiana with big dreams who is here in Los Angeles, and I just love to work really, really hard and play harder and encourage other Black women to do the same thing. And to, I'm a woman with small roots and humble beginnings who very much so mastered what it means to survive. And then when the time came when it was no longer time to survive but to thrive, it was a difficult transition for me because what I knew was how to grind and how to make it through hardship and difficulty. But when it was time to live in the soft girl era or the softness, that was a little bit more challenging. I didn't have any models for it. Yeah. So I am a person who is dedicating, I should say, my life to living well and thriving and, lifting as I climb. So whoever else I can inspire on that journey, provide a blueprint on that journey through whatever services, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I resonate with you knew how to do this. And then when you shifted to something else, it was very hard. And I think there are a lot of people, a lot of Black women, myself included, who are going through that stage of their life where you did all the things that you were told to do. Yeah. And you're supposed to be happy with the outcome once you reach the top of the mountain. Like you got up there and you're supposed to be happy with whatever it is that you've achieved. And we have achieved great things. Yeah. And then you look around and it's like, but I still feel empty. Like I don't feel like I'm doing. Yeah, it's like something that I need to feel. And what is it? And then you have to go out and discover yourself and discover what it is that you need and what you want. Yes.
All of the things.
And it's hard, child.
because because the mindset that gets you to the top of the mountain is not the mindset that helps you enjoy it, and so it's like nobody talks about that part. So you really have to pivot and shift and start looking. Yeah. Start looking and discovering.
Yeah, 1,000%. So I want to start us off like a little light with some this or that before we jump into just wellness overall as liberation. So let's start with music. So would you say you would choose old school R&B or 2000s hip hop?
Old school R&B all day. I need a love song. I need the men in the videos crying outside, begging in the rain, leather jackets in the sand. Give me old school R&B, 90s R&B any day. Followed closely by 2000s hip hop, but I'm 90s R&B all day.
Yeah, I just love love.
I love love. Yeah. I love love, and I love the celebration of love. I love like the normalcy of love before things transition into something else that I'm just like, can we get back to this kind of love? Like, and it was people weren't afraid or embarrassed by being in love. Yes. Like Jodeci's song, like, you've been gone for an hour and it's too long. 1 hour. So, yeah.
Yes. I want a 90s R&B kind of
I need that. I'm putting that on my vision board.
For sure.
I need 90s R&B love.
Now, what about your Sundays? And I feel like I know the answer to this because of Wellness Check Wednesdays and being a psychologist. But is it Sunday brunch or self-care Sunday?
Self-care Sunday. I love to be social, as you probably can imagine, but Sundays I am watching football. That is my self-care and all of the sports and just kind of regrouping, because Sunday to me really is like, I have fun Friday, Saturday. Sunday is like getting my mind ready for for the week. And I'm really not trying to brunch, because I'm really trying to like take care of Lawanda at that point in time.
Yeah, I love that so much. And you either order your brunch in or you make your brunch.
Yes.
But you don't have to be with other people.
I don't have to spend my money. I don't have to be out spending my money and having mimosas and doing all the things that I'm going to have to recover for on Monday. So I can just kind of calm down and slow it down on Sunday.
Yeah, I love that. And what about spades or Uno? Spades
all day. Spades, I got to use my brain. I got to be strategic. I got to be critical. You know, Uno is fun. It's what I want to play with my nieces and nephews. You know, spades, I want to partner. I want to talk some mess. I want to get in my opponent's head. You know, I'm an athlete at my core. So spades is definitely it.
Yeah. Also, you're a psychologist, so you know what to say to people to get in their head while they're playing spades.
That's kind of when I use my powers the other way. You know, usually I'm using my powers for good. But when we playing spades, I'm like, okay, let me have a little fun.
I know you got this card.
Right. I can see you moving. Why did you jump? Why you look a little tense right now? So, yes, I love spades. Spades over Uno any day.
Exactly. I love spades, too. But sometimes it just get a little serious. And I'm like, but y'all, it's a game.
It'd be so intense, girl. It'd be so intense.
It is so okay.
But listen, I love it. That's the culture. That's the culture that you got to take it with. It comes with the territory.
Yes, absolutely. So as we jump into like talking about wellness as liberation, I think wellness has so many different definitions and people see it so many different ways. Like you can have wellness that people talk about spending thousands and thousands of dollars, going on vacation, going to the spa, but then also there's wellness that's free.
There's one
that you can that you can actually participate in and experience without having to spend $1. So when you think about wellness, what are some of the lies that we have been told or that we tell ourselves about wellness?
That's a good question. I think that to be honest, when we think of wellness, it's been commercial, and we've usually seen majority white women at a spa, getting their nails done, doing yoga. So we don't think that wellness belongs to us, right? I think that the lies we tell ourselves about wellness is that it's like something for everybody else but us, everybody but Black women. And that's because of the depiction of what it has been. So the lie is that this is not something that I can obtain. This is not something that I resonate with, right? Because representation matters. And this is not something that belongs to me. And, you know, I would interrupt that narrative in the sense that wellness looks different for every community, right? We're not a monolith. Like, we are all different. Diversity is not a problem. And so what you've seen about wellness you may not resonate with, that's because it's not our version of wellness. Yeah. And so I think the lie is that, you know, it doesn't belong to us, but it does. And it just looks different because our wellness is more of a journey. And, you know, there's different nuances to it. But I feel like that's the biggest piece that I see. People, like, even if my very first summit, that was retreat, we were calling it at that time, but just the images of wellness. I was like, this is not what I'm doing. Like, I need some images that reflect what I'm trying to do that looks like the people that I'm trying to put this on for. And by and large, we haven't seen that. Now, you know, we've kind of gotten a little bit beyond that, and we're kind of we've been in the more commercialization of that, which is spending money, which is going on trips, and it's the spa and all that. And that's still, to me, not the core of what it is, right? Yeah. Wellness is an internal job, and it's about you spending time trying to figure out what does your center look like. To me, being well is being centered. You go get your well women's exam, you go get your checkup, you're really looking for the presence of health. And so for me, wellness is that, and trying to reclaim that narrative has been a challenge, but I'm grateful that you were talking about this because we're definitely on our way to doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are not well, none of the other stuff you
don't
do
matter. The trip don't matter.
Yeah. I mean, you could pass out on the trip and die.
Or not even be having fun on the trip because emotionally you're not well.
Yes.
Or you can't appreciate it or enjoy it psychologically because you're not well. So I think as I'm talking through this, I think wellness kind of sometimes feels like the external decorative things like that we add on, and it's really more internal to me. And the decorative stuff is just like icing on the cake.
Exactly. It's a compliment. But
Exactly.
you gotta fix all this
Yes.
first in order for you to actually show up in the ways that you want to show
Absolutely.
up and be the person that you want to be. And I think we have been told to focus on what we're doing. Like, what is it that you're attaining?
Yeah.
Like, those are the things that have been said to be important, but what is most important is like
what you see, right?
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
Completely
absolutely, agree. Absolutely. So as a psychologist, people may think that you've always known how to do wellness. It's just natural to you. So can you tell us how wellness has transformed your life and who you were before you understood like what wellness actually is and before you started to really experience it for yourself?
Yeah, no, I want to disrupt that. It was not always natural because I put it in perspective, I'm the last of 10. So my mom and dad, same parents. I have 7 brothers and 2 sisters, the last of 10 from a very small rural town in Louisiana, minimal resources. And I think Louisiana has always been ranked last in terms of education. So you coming out behind from a deficit, right? So I appreciate it because it gives you grit, and you got to get out of there and you got to make it happen. And so there was a set of skills and tools that I needed to get to the next level, right? To get to undergrad, to get to grad school, to get to my doctorate, to get to my internship, my postdoc. And it served you, but there's no model for beyond that, right? There's no model. And no one talks about how comfortable the body keeps the score, right? So how comfortable your body gets to managing stress, managing hardship, managing difficulty. It feels like your sweet spot. So it's kind of like a catch-22 in the sense that you don't really want to do it, but you know how to do it, right? Then all of a sudden you're a doctor and you're licensed and you have a practice and you have a business and you're thriving, and nobody teaches you how to thrive. So it feels very, very uncomfortable. So, I have a therapist. I tell people it's 2 types of people in the world: people in therapy, people who need to be. And so I remember being in this place. I'll never forget. It was in my condo, walking upstairs and like just yearning for some type of crisis so that I could feel comfortable.
Wow.
Because I was just so uncomfortable with the peace and the joy. I can recall like sitting downstairs with one of my homegirls, and she was so funny. She was making me so laugh so hard. And I was like, this feels so uncomfortable. Like, I'm just so happy. And how can you be yearning for a crisis when you're happy? It's because you don't know how to be happy. You don't know how to have joy. You don't know how to not be in grind mode. And I just remember, internally, intuitively, this is not it. Like, this is what the ancestors wanted. Like, this is what they fought for. So I was like, I got to get back in therapy, because I've always had therapists just in different, wherever I lived. And I had left Houston. I had been at the Bay for a little bit, and I was in LA. I was like, I got to go to therapy. And so I had also associated this with like something bad was going to happen. Like, you can't be so happy because every time you're happy, something bad happens. Right.
You're just waiting for the other
shoe to drop.
Just waiting
for the other shoe to drop. And so thank God, shout out to my therapist, Dr. T, who's so amazing. And she really helped me develop a different paradigm. And just the body had kept the score, all these memories, all of this struggle. There was no model. So, and it's really what inspired my business in the sense that, like I said, I have the blueprint to thriving, from moving from survival to thriving. Not just because theoretically in research and education, yes, I have all that, but I have lived experience about what this looks like. So it was a process to unlearn and then to learn new models. I would study people. Like, Sierra seemed happy. She seemed comfortable with being happy. I need to lean into that. So it was, I would say.
Oh, you mean like Russell Sierra?
Russell Sierra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, girl, I didn't know. I thought it was an imaginary Sierra, but you're right, girl.
No.
Sierra is very happy.
Sierra is living the life. She was talking about planning her life 5 years at a time. And I was like, damn, I've never even been able to get beyond the moment, And so it was like, you have to study. People don't talk enough about that. And sometimes when you're trying to do something different, you have to study people doing it and living in it. And so I was just like looking at people who are happy and like, oh shit, she think about her life 5 years at a time. Okay, this happy thing may be normal. So, and I say that publicly. I say that privately to my clients. I say that in whatever space that I'm in, that it was a journey to learning how to be well. And, now I can't imagine another type of life, but it wasn't automatic.
Yeah, totally. Especially if you don't know anyone else or you've never seen anyone else who looks like you particularly, because as you talked about before, it's like, oh, that's not for us.
Exactly.
But it actually is for us. And there are examples of that out there that exist, but you have to look for them.
Yeah.
And as you were talking, I was thinking about like everything that happened with the contest that went on in November, and how there are a lot of Black women who have taken a collective breath, a collective step back. And there are so many people. I was scrolling on TikTok, and there was this woman who was like bawling, crying, because she was just like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Wow.
I don't know who to be when I'm not fighting
Come on
for
over, girl.
other people.
I got you.
Exactly. Call Dr. Lawanda.
Hit me up.
But yeah, she was just like, I don't know what to do with myself right now, because I've always been consumed with fighting for the collective, showing up for the collective, always like doing justice work and worrying about other people.
It becomes an identity.
Exactly. Like, I don't know who I am at this point. Like, what am I supposed to do with all this space and all this free time?
Yeah.
And what you said really made me think about her and just all the people in the comment section, all the Black women in the echoing to be like, you're right. Like, I don't know what to do if I'm not doing this. I don't know what to do when I take a breath. And I think that having this conversation is really important. So as you think about like Black women who are listening right now, who are feeling that way, whether it's because they came to this point of transformation like I did, where I was just like, it got to be something else. Like, what else am I supposed to be doing on my own? Or whether it's because something happened that feels traumatic, that feels tragic, and now you have to really figure out like, what am I supposed to do with myself, because now I don't have this thing that I've been doing this whole time, or this thing that has become who I am rather than what I do. How do you get to a point of wellness? Like, how do you separate yourself and like focus on you?
I think that's a really good question, and I think you're giving me so much intel and so much inspiration, just from things that I've been thinking about and planning. But I would say I think we're always trying to figure out how to do it, and I think it's okay to ask for help. Like, I think that Black women have had to do it and figure it out, but in these instances, you may not be the one with the blueprint.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say two things that I fundamentally believe in: being in community with other women, even if you don't know how. You know, and I say that because I've had so many women who don't know how to appreciate like just joy and honesty, and women being kind and being friendly because they're not used to it, and that's okay, right? That you're not alone in that. So I would say be in community with other women where you can see models. Right? You may be inspired by, oh, wow, this is what she's doing. This is what she's doing. So I would say being in community and getting support and help. And that's professional help. I think we live in an era where we are very much so inundated with information. And this just may be my bias as a psychologist, that we believe that we can just self-help our way to different things. And some things are more deeply embedded.
Girl. Let me tell you, don't matter how many books you read, it does not matter.
It's a process. You're not going to. And I think that we think that when we scroll and we like something and we save it, that the process has happened. It's not, right? So you got to get professional help, I think. I think getting someone who can understand how deeply embedded, where did that identity come from, to the sister on TikTok. Like, yes, this is what you knew to do. This is what you learned to do. This is what was motivating you for survival. But that's just one piece of it.
Yeah.
I believe we're supposed to be having joy. We're supposed to be having fun. We're supposed to be experiencing pleasure. Yes, we're supposed to be moving in purpose, right? Which is part of that work, that justice work. But we're also supposed to be having fun. And so often we've been robbed of that. We don't even know how to do it.
Right.
So I would say first is just like, I would just plant that seed. Like, what would it look like for you to have fun? Like, it seems so simple and so rudimentary, but it's so powerful. What would it be like for you to experience fun, joy, and pleasure in addition to purpose, and not just purpose void of all these other things?
Yeah.
And being in community with other women to help you do it, to support you as you do it, and getting professional help to give you a guide.
Yeah, totally. And I'm glad you said that. Like, both things can exist together. And I think a lot of times people feel like, oh, there's all these things happening in the world. Who am I to experience joy? Who am I to experience fun when all of these people are suffering?
Yeah.
The world is going to be the world.
You came in the world with problems, you're going to leave the world with problems.
Girl, yes.
Okay.
So that does not mean that you should rob yourself of the ability to experience joy, pleasure, fun.
The problem's
whatever
going to
it
be
is,
there.
the good things. They are going to be there when you get back.
Mm-hmm. And you know who model? I mean, I love sports for a variety of reasons, but it's because they model that so well. You watch, and football is fresh on my mind because we just won the championship, so it's that. But I watch these men on the field, and I'm like, they are having the time of their lives, just running, joyful, playing. Despite what's going on, right?
Yes.
And they're playing a game that they love. And I feel like that's so powerful of watching people play.
Yes.
Like play and have fun and then get back to the grind. But we have to learn. We haven't had the luxury, generationally to do that. So I do think that we're ground zero in learning how to implement that into our lives.
Totally. And I'm glad you mentioned like the examples and the football players because recently, like in the last month, I've seen pictures of civil rights activists from the past experiencing joy and doing the things that they love. But all the images we've ever seen of them, they have been marching.
Yes.
Rosa Parks is sitting on the bus.
Yeah.
Like she in the prison cell.
Yes.
Like that's all that we have seen is like them actively in the fight, but not them enjoying our lives.
Actively in the joy.
Exactly. So like I saw a picture of Rosa Parks like doing yoga. Like apparently she was a yogi.
Really?
Yes. And then you see Martin, him and Coretta like in Jamaica chilling. Like he in the pool and stuff. And I'm like, okay, like we're actually experiencing joy and pleasure, and these are images that have been hidden from us by and large. I mean, I'm sure that there are people who have seen them before, but I, in my 39 years of life, had never actually seen those images. And I feel like for some people, it's probably going to make them feel like they have permission.
We need permission.
To experience joy and pleasure because, okay, like I can be well. I can be well and serve
I can put
people.
This down and get back in the fight. Because here's the thing. We're hardwired to do it.
Yeah.
It's in our DNA. I'll tell people my ancestors had to be some warriors, baby, because it was not taught. I was just like in there ready to go to battle whenever I needed to. So we don't have to worry about getting back to the fight, getting back to what's right. Like I think we are the moral compass. And so I think that that's just DNA who we are. What we have to learn to do, what we need images of, what we need guidance sometimes in is how to put that down.
Yeah.
Right? And how to have fun and how to have joy and how to do things that just speak to our own well-being and not that of everybody else's.
Yes. Snaps. Speak to our own well-being and not of that of everybody else. You are so right.
Yes.
So, Dr. Lawanda, you got a lot of exciting things happening, and then obviously you are a practicing psychologist. So, if people have resonated with your message today, tell them where they can find you online.
You can find me at my website, drlawandahill.com, where you can get plugged in. But then you can also find me at Dr. Lawanda Hill on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Facebook. I don't do Twitter, Threads, and that's where the content is. That's where the energy I be cutting up in my stories. But also, I try to make certain that I'm providing practical perspective, tips, tools, and insights for Black women to thrive.
Amazing. I love that so much. And I feel so connected to you because my mission is to help Black women who are saving the world to save themselves first.
Yes.
So
give the best of you to you. I thank you for that. I feel like it's so necessary.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And then thank you to everyone who is tuning in and hearing more about wellness as liberation. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching this week's episode of We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. Catch up on previous episodes on the Living Corporate Network and on YouTube. You're also invited to join our exclusive community for access to early episode releases, exclusive content, live events, and more.